Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are talking about summer reading from Slide to Success. I'm Stephanie Schwab. The sunglasses are a little cheesy, but it is summer reading, so come on. And the sun's out here today for the first time in about 4 days, so it's nice to see it. I am going to start off today with a little excerpt from this book. I do have a document reader, so I'll show you in a minute so it's not backwards, but this is No More Summer Reading Loss. This is from a student's perspective. And the quote is, "I just read these books because I have no choice. Since I was in elementary school, every teacher sent me home with a summer reading list and questions to be completed and turned in on the first day of the new school year." Well, there's a way to begin, isn't it? These assignments counted as a grade, no pressure. My older sister had the same assigned books, so each year they just passed the summary from sister to brother to sister. And each summer they would rely on each other in their summaries to tell what the books were about, so they could get through them as quickly as possible. I just read these books because I have no choice. Jenny, a high school student. That breaks my heart. That is so counterintuitive to lifelong readers and lifelong learners, which is what I know as educators we're all hoping to create. No More Summer Reading Loss is the book, and it's fantastic. We're gonna reference this quite a few times during our time together today. I do want to give a huge shout out to the EdCollab and the Gathering. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and I give a great big thank you to my fantastic ed tech person, my tech crew, which is Melissa. So thank you. A little bit about who I am as a representative from Booksource. Booksource is about engaging readers. For over 40 years, we've been family owned and operated, and we focus on providing our customers with the best selection of quality literature and giving truly exceptional customer service. We do work with over 150 publishers, so we can provide the education market with over 30,000 titles, and we focus on ensuring customers get the right books that they need for their students and getting those books into the students' hands. We truly have a passion for literacy education. We have a passion for literacy, our customers, and the company, and I do hope that that comes through to you in our time together today. So Summer Slide, the research. I know that this is not going to be totally new and innovative information, and I think we've all seen the studies. And they're sad and scary, but the good news is there are things that we can do to counteract all of this negativity that surrounds Summer Slide. So let's walk through some of those things. Sorry, I want to make sure that, there we go. Thank you for bearing with me. Summer Slide, the research. What is out there? Summer reading loss is one of the major obstacles to proficiency by the end of grade 3. And it appears quite frighteningly that summer reading and learning loss is cumulative. So over time, this builds on itself. And we all know what happens when things build over time. They get harder and harder to overcome. And unfortunately, researchers have shown that efforts to close this achievement gap just by making efforts during the school year alone are largely unsuccessful. That's frightening. We do very fortunately have a guru that we can turn to, and that's Dr. Richard Allington. Hopefully he is not a new name. He is familiar to you, and if not, you will learn a little bit about him today. I hear about some of his fantastic research and get to know him and the wonderful things that he's done. So he is on faculty at University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and he, along with his co-worker, Anne McGill Franzen, did a 3-year study. And it showed that significantly higher levels of reading achievement could be found in students who received books for summer reading at home. And their research showed the kids that did not read in the summer lost 2 to 3 months of reading development. The kids that read gained a month of proficiency over the summer. That's huge. And in their study, and this was innovative at the time, their students choose their own books. What did the students choose? A lot of the same things that we like to read about in our free time. Pop culture, athletes, musicians, things that they were genuinely interested in. And television and movie characters, we can't forget about them, because those are near and dear to many children's hearts and our own as well. And they found that their intervention, sending these books home with the kids, letting them choose their own, was less expensive and extensive than traditional summer school, which, as you know, is weeks long, day after day of a curriculum program. And it's very expensive. So the conclusion of this study was get books into the hands of all children for summer reading. How do we do that? Well, let's keep the libraries open, the school libraries open during summer break, send books home with the students, and the books that are sent home are student choice and built on prior knowledge. Books like pop culture, the local place where they live, animals. And I do want to mention that anything that I have referenced, I have included the link to, and you can see, I have the full articles here. So hopefully this will be available for you, because I do have them all linked. So at BookSource, we are so excited to have spent the last 18 months designing a summer reading program that is supported by this research. So a successful summer reading program is based on 3 main components. 1, access to books. 2, student choice. And finally, a connection at home, some kind of support for that reading. Our first aspect, access to books. Got books? I know I have more books than I have room for, but I will never stop collecting them, that's for sure. So a Q&A with Dr. Allington and the School Library Journal, he was asked about obstacles that particularly low-income students, but that students encounter that create these summer slide and reading losses. And he says the basic problem is access to books, and that they've found, again, providing self-selected books for summer reading had as much or more reading growth as attending summer school. And we have the evidence now that improving access to books can have this powerful, positive impact on reading development. It's exciting. We have this information. Now, what do we do with it? So again, budget is always a huge thing. Budget, money. Well, and this is very powerful. Dr. Allington says there's nothing more problematic than kids with no books to read and schools with libraries filled with fabulous reading material that no one will read over the summer. It's heartbreaking. So he says, empty out your school library before the final day of school. Put the books in the kids' hands. Let them take them home. Yes, cleaning out the library. Some books are not going to come back. But he says that based on their experience, it's less than 10% of the time. And really, in the grand scheme of things, aren't the kids more important than those 10% of books that may not come back? And let that just sink in for a second. So when you think about, I know, believe me, there are few people that are more protective of their precious books than I am. And so I get it, having this beautiful library full of these amazing titles, and you think, oh my gosh, what if they don't come back? I know, but when we sit and think on it and put the kids first, that's where our priorities lie. So we need to make it easy for kids to get the books that they need to read over the summer. Show me the money. Dr. Allington, we want to send books home with kids. What if we don't have this robust library of titles? What can we do? Well, he says, if you're saying to the universe, I hear the research, I hear it, but I don't have the money. What can I do? Now, I'm going to stop here for a second and say, these are suggestions made by Dr. Allington. Some of these might be controversial. You may not agree with them. That's okay. It's just something to consider when you come to that stopping point of, we want to do this, but we don't have the budget. We want to do it, we don't have the money. We're not comfortable or can't release books from our libraries. What options do we have? So these are some money-saving tips from Dr. Allington. Again, these could be controversial to some. They are not meant to be, they're only meant to be suggestions. So fairly common instructional options that use money and time. So these are things that could be either eliminated or scaled back on to come up with money for summer reading books. Eliminate workbooks. Eliminate test prep. And again, because I have the article linked, I'm not going to go into the thought process behind these. I'm just going to simply list them, and you are welcome to look into them later. And again, they might not apply to your situation. Totally understandable. Eliminate paraprofessionals from instructional roles. And eliminate expenditures for computer-based reading programs. I'm sure you've seen the same research that I have that indicates that much like adults, yes, I have an e-reader. I love it dearly, but 9 times out of 10 when I'm reading, I pick up a hard copy of a book. I pick up an actual real book to read, and they have found that there is that tactile connection when kids have and hold a book and interact with physically turning the pages and seeing the words and the pictures, not on a flat screen, but on the actual hard copy of a book, that their comprehension and their reading skills and proficiency and all of these things increase. I'm sure you've seen the same research that I have recently, and this lends itself to his suggestion of not spending money on these computer-based reading programs. So again, he ends this show me the money piece with reiterating that the biggest benefit to children is having that high quality reading material over all times, really, but definitely over the summer. So we are going to do a quick Twitter break and share with us, how does your school or district get books into kids' hands for summer reading? And, or if kids are able to keep the books, how is this funded? This is a great opportunity to share some ideas with each other. Somebody might have something that they do that's very successful in their district that somebody even in the next county is not familiar with, has never heard of, is never considered. So share with us. Share with us. Let us know. We're here to answer your live tweets. You can interact with us. If you have feedback, please share so we can share some ideas about getting books into the kids' hands. Our second aspect of a successful summer reading program that is supported by research is student choice. Now, what's important here is that we can't just rely on student choice when it's time to pick summer reading books. We need to teach students all year how to choose the right books. How do we choose books? We need to teach kids. Here's some suggestions. Someone else recommended a book to me. Hey, I know that you really, are into such and such. Here's a great title that you might really enjoy. It's a topic that the kids are genuinely interested in. It's something that they want to learn more about. It's a series that they love. It's by an author that they are fond of another title. It's an interesting title. We've all seen those books. They just have that title that just jumps out and grabs you and hooks you from the get-go. They've read the annotation or the summary, or they read the first 2 pages or the back cover, and they're hooked. And maybe it's a genre that they like. Hey, I know you really like mysteries. Ooh, you should check this one out. So what do you choose? Here's what I choose. My very first memory of choosing my own book was the fantastic Ramona series. Ramona is so near and dear to my heart, and I love her. I felt a part of her family. I always wanted boingy curls, but I had bone straight hair, still do. I do have a daughter that has gorgeous, beautiful, blonde, perfect boingy curls as I imagined in the series. So that was my first memory of choosing a title for myself. And I was a voracious reader growing up, and now I still like to claim to be, although my time is definitely more limited. I fit it in when I can. The next thing that I remember self-selecting were the Babysitter's Club books. And those are making a comeback. They have been redone and revisited and made into even graphic novels, which are excellent. Next, I remember choosing Calvin and Hobbes. What smart humor. I mean, the illustrations, the things that can be conveyed just with the look of a face, or just simply in the comic. Bill Watterson is definitely one of my favorites. So Calvin and Hobbes, Weirdos from Another Planet. Again, this is the type of cover that is going to grab a kid. Weirdos. Oh my gosh. Am I allowed to read a book that says weirdos? Well, if it's appropriate for you, absolutely. And there's so much inference and wonderful things and skills that can be practiced from this type of reading material. I just love them. Love Calvin and Hobbes. And then as a young adult, I discovered the Harry Potter series. Oh, the excitement, even as a young adult, reading the books and then waiting for opening day to see the beautiful movie adaptations. I love it. And I still, when they're on TV now, will sit and watch them. Gorgeous. Beautifully made. And now one of my personal favorites, near and dear to my heart, are the Mo Willems Pigeon books. Pigeon is one of my all-time favorite characters. I love Duckling and Piggy and Elephant. Those are fantastic, but Pigeon is my favorite. And there are so many funny titles. They're relatable. The parents can read them and think, yep, that's you. And the kids can read them and think, as much as I don't want to think that's me, it's me. They're just great. They really speak to me as an educator, as a parent, and even thinking back as a child. So I love those. Another opportunity to share with us, what books or genres do you choose when you read for fun? Given the opportunity to read for fun, what would you pick? And or do you have an all-time favorite #1 book of all time? And if so, what is it? What makes it your favorite? So share with us. Tweet all about it. Again, what books or genres do you choose when you read for fun? Our hashtag is the EdCollab Gathering #6. And do you have an all-time #1 favorite book? I do not, personally. That, for me, that question, I can't answer it. Like I said, I couldn't even narrow down, a things that I remembered self-selecting. It was hard for me to choose just one. That's why I just shared a whole screen full of them with you guys, because there are so many that I love. So I don't have a number one favorite book, but I just shared with you a lot of my personal favorites. So share with us some of yours. What are your favorites? What do you read when you have time? Which I know is limited. So to reiterate, providing self-selected books, Dr. Allington says, has produced as much or more reading growth as attending summer school. This really was the crux of the summer reading program that we created at BookSource, because it is a program that gives students real choice. What are they going to be excited about reading? And this is so fantastic. Last week on our Twitter feed for BookSource, an educator posted students, and you can see these are not older students, so even the young guys, hey, they could teach us a thing or two about using the Chromebooks like here and the iPads and everything else. Definitely, but these are kids self-selecting books for their summer reading program. How exciting is that? Fantastic. We're so happy to get these kinds of things. Please share with us. Let us know how you're using resources. Book talk. All right. I do get to work with a lot of books every day, which is a tremendous benefit of working at BookSource and being around all of these fantastic books. So I have books, a ton of books with me today to share with you. I'm going to turn the document reader on and let you see some of these great titles. So again, here is No More Summer Reading Loss. And you can see Dr. Allington was and Anne were part of this group. This is fantastic. If you don't have this, it reiterates a lot of the things that we've talked about today with the research base. Getting books in kids' hands, things that we're going to talk about in a minute about sharing. This is a fantastic resource. I highly recommend it. If you have kids that love space, is a hot topic. Planets. Is Pluto a planet? Is it not? Let's see. Make sure you guys can see the document viewer. Sorry, technical difficulty. I show that the camera's on, but maybe you can't see it. If not, we will move on. Not a problem. Just waiting for confirmation if you guys can see the books or not. Okay, apparently my document viewer is not working properly. Let me try one more thing. I apologize for the delay. Okay, how about now? Can we see the covers now? Give it one more second. Okay, we're going to move on. Sorry. You know, something's always got to keep us on our toes, right? So some suggestions: books on space, books on sports, movie tie-ins, genres kids love. Okay, supported by research, the connection at home. This is very exciting to be able to build the community of literacy and extend it into homes. So supporting the home connection. How can we as educators support the home connection? One example is a family literacy event. What does that look like? What does that mean? So a family literacy event, what can you do? You can distribute the summer reading books, regardless where they're coming from. Distribute these summer reading books, make an event of it, make it fun. Offer sessions to give tips on reading aloud, and so important, model a read aloud. Unfortunately, we know all too well that not every child grows up in a household where they are read to. And not every child has parents or grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, tutors, siblings who feel comfortable to sit down and read with them, or they might not be in a situation where they're able to do that and share that time together. So some families, it may not exist because they don't know how, they aren't comfortable, or there's no access to books to sit down and read together. So we need to model for them and show them. These are the things that we do when we share books with our children, when we share books with the students. And have some kind of post read aloud activities there to complete together, whoever's reading with the child, whoever's accompanying them to this family literacy event. And it could be called a community literacy event. It doesn't even have to be family. We don't want anyone to feel excluded. Have this post read aloud activities for them to do that go along with the books you're reading in your read aloud to demonstrate the fun of reading. And ask the local library to attend. Let them have applications there to get a library card. Let them be there to be the voice of the local library to communicate that everyone is welcome here. We want you to come to the doors. We want to share our resources with you. Please come to the library. And the PTA, National PTA site has given these great tips for families as far as literacy. Encourage reading in the home. Send an example. Read in front of your kids. Let them see you reading, whether it's the newspaper, a magazine, an article online, a book. Let them see you reading. Again, sign your child up for a library card. It's free, and you have endless access. Help your child write their own stories. They could write about books, movies, TV shows. Take turns reading to each other. Again, the fun, silly voices. Read with silly voices. Be silly. And practice storytelling on the go. Tell funny stories, spooky stories, silly stories, but share stories with each other, because really that is the crux of where literacy comes from, sharing stories. Ask your student, what is your story? And so to support that home connection, at BookSource, we do have free home resources. So this is a great early literacy title. These National Geographic readers are fantastic. Hang On Monkey. And you can see keywords here. Fun, capture interest, crazy antics, humor, and again, just to make sure if you didn't get it the first time, fun. So this information is great. It's a new reading experience. They even go so far as to call it a treat. So after this book would come home, this home resource is available online, and you would talk about it with your child. So these home resources are activity and discussion based. However, they do not require like a full elaborate craft room to do an activity together. They don't even necessarily require internet access. They just require primarily discussions, sharing, making those text to world connections, text to self, and just building that relationship, that community, that family of literacy and readers where we talk about books, we share about books, we're passionate about books. Those are the types of behaviors that we want to reinforce. I was literally at a conference this morning where the fantastic Kristen Zemke talked about, let's think about natural reading activities. When you are going to bed at night and you're reading, do you close the book and then jump out of bed, run to the kitchen, and make a diorama? I don't. Maybe you do. Maybe you are a closeted diorama fan. That's okay. That is not necessarily a lifelong reading behavior. So let's focus on celebrating and reinforcing behaviors that we want to make lifelong and that are natural reading behaviors. Discussion, perfect one. Looking at the photographs, look at them together. What can you tell about monkeys just from looking at the pictures? Talk about different types of monkeys. Here's where that sharing comes in. Talk about the differences in the monkeys and then relate that to the differences in people. You choose to be friends with someone and they're different from you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the difference between you and I, whoever the child's reading with. And then we move on to do something together. Again, does not have to be an elaborate craft room or something super fancy, but take a look. There is I wish the document camera was working, I apologize, but there's a habitat map in the back that shows the different countries and continents where monkeys live. So talk about, which continent do you live on? Text to self. Where is it located? Let's find it on the map together. Map skills. Now we're extending into social studies and life skills. Imagine, from one early literacy book. It's amazing. And finally, remember, we're reinforcing fun. Together, act like a monkey. Who is the best monkey? How much fun is that? Just spend a few minutes acting like a monkey together. You think your kid's going to remember that? You better believe it. Another great home resource for a fantastic title for a little bit older kids is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. If you're not familiar with this series, the author Jeff Kinney has a fantastic website. Wimpy Kid has its own official website, and this is, I believe, the 7th book in the series. I have it here so I can tell you. The 9th. Sorry, geez. It's a wildly successful, popular series. If you're not familiar, this is the 9th installment. And there are prior movies to go with some of the other books. This happens to be one that the new movie is coming out the latter part of next month. So this would be a great thing to engage maybe a more reluctant reader. And hey, why don't you read the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, and then come the latter part of May, we'll go see it together in the theaters. Let's read the book together. Why don't you tell me what I can expect when we get to the movie theater? So another chance to interact with us is let us know. For you, if you could travel any place, where would you go? I know for me, I would travel to Greece. When the Olympics were there several years ago, I fell in love with the beauty of Greece. The blues against the white buildings with the homes on the hillside. Gorgeous. It's on my bucket list. Someday, I'd love to get to Greece. Where would you love to go? Again, all based on a book. A book. Yes, we can have these discussions. And create a comic strip. This is something a kid can do. Again, you don't need a whole craft room. Pen to paper, they can create a comic strip or a graphic novel. Or if you Google create graphic novel, or comic strip, free comic strip for kids. Kids create comic strips free. If you Google those types of keywords, then you will find there are some really wonderful sites out there where the kids can create their own comics. So to interact with the text, Booksource has available a traditional summer reading log. But again, this is not necessarily the type of behavior that they're going to be reinforced for lifelong readers and lifelong learning. I don't, finish a chapter up and then write down, quickly record the name of the title, the date, and the number of minutes that I read. But for some reading programs, this is important, so we do have this available. To offer a higher level of thinking and involvement and a little more substantial interactions with the text, we do have these summer reading activity sheets. I do have some student samples. I apologize I'm not able to share them, but I do want to give you an idea of some things that we put into the activities. We intentionally did not make them grade level specific, and we did not make them fiction, nonfiction specific. So the students, again, have choice. Which activity sheet do I want to complete? What kinds of activities do I want to do? So they can talk about how this book relates to something in their life, your friends, the world around you, movies you've watched. Use your imagination. Describe your feelings as you read this book. As you are reading, write down the words you don't recognize. What did you learn from reading this book? Again, could be fiction, nonfiction. And then they're given the option on a separate page, create a fan fiction piece about the characters. You could also write a story that relates to this book or is something same topic or about one of the characters. Write a poem, a song, a play. Again, back to the comic. The other sample that we have and this one is the shorter version here, the summer reading activity sheet. This one is this book about something real or pretend? And draw a picture showing how this book makes you feel. Again, this gives different options of further extension activities on a separate piece of paper. Write a sentence about or draw a picture of your favorite character, your favorite part of the book, something new that you learned, or this is broad, anything about the book. They could create a new cover. It's fantastic. They really have many options, and that's what we want to give kids. Thinking about the books that they're interacting with and, excuse me, and engaging with these texts. When summer ends, what do we do? Prove to me, this is fantastic. Michelle Johnson, blogging on the Teaching Channel. Prove to me you read the book. Again, is this a behavior that we want to reinforce? Do you show up to work and they say, prove to me that you prepared for this meeting? Prove to me. That's not really, we want to foster intrinsic motivation and trust. So we want to be moving away from prove to me you read the book, and what can we do instead? Another opportunity for you to interact with us about the home connection. Does your school or district engage families in literacy? How? Again, let's share. Let's become a community of readers. Let's share with each other here today. What does your school or district do to engage families in literacy? What kind of post-reading activities do your students love to do? And how do your students like to share about their favorite books? Do they like to have book clubs, talk about them? Do they like to write about them? So let's share together and learn from each other today. So what can we do if we're not going to reinforce that prove to me you read the book? We're going to celebrate reading. How do we do this? We come back to school and we make sure everyone is involved. We are not greeting them at the door saying, did you read? Did you read? And how many books did you read? No, we're saying, welcome. Welcome back to our community of learners and readers. Welcome. Please come celebrate with us. We are going to celebrate reading. Something that we can do as an activity to make sure everyone is included. Teachers, educators, looking at you too. Welcome them back with Dress as Your Favorite Book Character Day. How much fun is that? And something everyone can do. Invite guest or mystery readers to share their personal favorite read aloud. Host a read-in event with snacks, books, comfy areas to read. Share books through book talks and reviews. Remind the kiddos, hey, watch out for spoilers, and I'll do the same. And you could create a board for everyone to see pictures of teachers, students, family members caught reading over the summer. Celebrate reading. Encourage that community. Again, the book is No More Summer Reading Loss. And what I love best about it is that the entire premise is preparing to combat summer reading loss with each new school year. So this is not something we consider only in April, May, June. This is something that when the kids begin in the fall, now we are starting to prepare for how we are going to deal with summer reading loss. Everything from teaching students that selection to modeling how we want them to interact about the books. We're going to do it all year. At BookSource, we really are about engaging educators. So we have teacher resources created by teachers for teachers, lots of quantitative, qualitative information, links to digital resources, suggested companion books. We also have a classroom organizer. It's a web-based program that helps you organize and inventory your classroom. It will show you where gaps are, lets the kids check books in and out, and lets you know some suggested titles for your classroom library. We have a wonderful, amazing blog called Banter. You can link to all of this from the BookSource website, but our Banter blog has lots of literary information. And you can go to the blog and search summer reading. And you can see that there are, I hope you can see, over 5 pages worth of summer reading articles that have been written by literacy passionate people. Some names you might recognize. Oh, No More Dreadful Summer Reading List, Please. This one by yours truly. But much more notably, Donna Lynn Miller, 6 Tips to Launch Summer Reading. Fantastic. A great article. So you can link to that from booksource.com and simply search summer reading. And our social media, Booksource is available on all sorts of summer social media with much literacy-rich, relevant content. Best of all of these resources are free. Teacher resources, classroom organizer, blog, social media, all free. We want to engage educators. Here's some examples of some content. This is a post from this week. Summer Reading and the Rich-Poor Achievement Gap, another book by Dr. Allington and Company. And here are some examples of some categories that are available for searching articles on the Banter blog. For more information on Booksource's new summer reading program, you can visit booksource.com and connect, or you can go to booksource.com/summer-reading. Contact us at any time. We'd love feedback. We love to engage with educators. You can call. Here's my personal email, or visit our website. Again, lots of free, wonderful resources. Even if I need to know what level this title is, go to booksource.com, look up the title, and you can find out the level. Finally, a huge thank you to Melissa, my amazing tech guru. To Chris, it was an honor to be included, and to Booksource. I am so proud to represent our company. I am very proud of what we do and all that we do to support educators on a daily basis. So thank you for your time today. Please let me know any feedback, any suggestions. I would love to engage with you on Twitter if you do have some of your favorite books, places you'd love to travel, ways that your district and school are involved in summer reading. I'm happy to engage with you in those types of discussions. And at Booksource, we're always looking to support educators. You guys are out there doing it, and we want to support you and make sure you have what you need. So anytime we want it to be a true partnership and communication. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you again to the EdCollab and to Melissa, and I wish you all the best.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for giving so many opportunities to educators. We appreciate all of that. And for our next session, we have some more exciting presentations. We have Chris, Amy, Brittany, and Jancy with Encouraging Seeing Ourselves and Each Other Through Literacy. We have Tanji with an invitation to examine, critique, and engage critical media literacy in the age of Common Core standards. And then we have Ruth with moves to make for enticing hard to reach writers. So thank you again, Stephanie, for taking the time this morning. And all the presentations will be available on YouTube for everyone to review again, or watch the ones that you missed. Thanks a lot, everyone.